when the full moon shines on the water, then they say Pegasus, the last of the winged horses, comes to drink. And here he is, there. That's Perseus and the wise old man, Ammon, and they see Pegasus, the winged horse, for the first time. And yes, they're in awe. Wow, what an amazing magical creature, yeah. As you may have gathered, this is going to be a review of the 1981 film Clash of the Titans. Yes, you have to specify that it's the 1981 original now, because whenever I look on YouTube on the movie reviews, everyone seems to be reviewing the remake. Yes, there's little or no reviews of the original, which I think is rather a shame. Because the people that review the remake, one thing that remains consistent is they all say this movie leaves you longing for the original. You know, so in other words, there should be more reviews of the original. The remake was alright, it had some moments and bits and bobs that are okay, but it's mostly lackluster. Too much attention on the new special effects, not enough attention on the story. Whereas the original Clash of the Titans gets the balance just right. Superb special effects and brilliant story. Yes, all the pieces of the puzzle connect together. And Clash of the Titans, in a way, it's a bit like two stories joined together. When Perseus, he has to solve a riddle in order to marry the Princess Andromeda, which he does, and they're on the brink of getting married, and that looks like the end of the film. No, it's not. That is in fact the first half of the movie. After that, yes, a new challenge has been presented to Perseus, yeah. But then, hey, what's wrong with that? The original myth. Yes, he has several things he has to do, yeah. Most heroes, once you've accomplished your mission, done your quest, then you get your reward at the end. But some heroes are given several quests, several challenges, until they finally can prove their worth. So they do take a lot of liberties of Clash of the Titans. Some of the things that happen that don't happen in the original myth. I suppose the most obvious example is, here we have Perseus has winged sandals. That's how he travels to places so fast. Whereas, of course, in the 1980s movie version, he has a winged horse instead. Well, a winged horse looks cooler, yeah. And Bellerophon, a different Greek hero, had the flying horse, yeah, but so what? It's like pieces of different Greek myths put together in the perfect story. Like, for instance, asking a riddle. If you get it wrong, you'll be killed. That's in a different Greek myth, yes. Meeting Charon, the ferryman, to go to the underworld. That's in a different Greek, well, several Greek myths they go to the underworld, but not Perseus, you know. But, it doesn't really matter. So, they take liberties, yes, but at the same time do justice to the original myth, and that's what's important, yeah. Okay, I'll start right at the beginning. Clash of the Titans, very personal to me because it's my most favourite movie of all time. It is quintessential, nothing is left out. All the fantasy elements, the amazing monsters, the challenge for the hero, and he gets the woman of his dreams at the end of the story. So yes, it's all there, and a lot of spoilers in this review, yeah. I first saw the movie when I was 7 years old, 7 3/4 to be exact, and it was Easter time, or Easter Eve, and I'd seen like an advert for it the previous day. I saw it on TV, and I was completely blown away by it. It was better than I was expecting. Never seen anything like it. The most perfect, most amazing hero ever, yeah. And at the time, I remember I didn't like movies set in the past, you know. I thought before we had motor cars, radio and television, life must have been really, really boring, you know. Well, this opened my mind to that, yes. No, there are some exceptions, yeah. Before modern technology was invented, you just made the most of what you had. And in a way, that just made it better. The Clash of the Titans just wouldn't work if it was set in the present day. No way, no. It's something more intriguing and mysterious about the past, yeah. And something reassuring that a story that good from about 4,000 years ago, it's timeless. It's still as good then as it is now, yeah. And I suppose I like the idea of Perseus is mortal. He could die at any time. And all these life or death situations he goes through, but if a mortal man can achieve such amazing things, then yeah, anything seems possible, yeah. And I thought, well, I could be destined for great, amazing things, yeah. And I remember it was the greatest movie I'd ever seen. The very next day, Easter Sunday, I went on an epic adventure, went to London with my family and saw my friends, and we saw all the sightseeing, and then and then a great house party afterwards in the evening. So in other words, yeah, a great adventure in the imaginary world, and the very next day an amazing adventure in the real world. So yeah, best of both worlds. So yeah, that's really cool. And but in spite of all this praise I'm giving it, there is a slight problem. I couldn't remember the title of the film. Because you have to understand, back in those days, not everyone had a video machine. And if you saw a movie, you only saw it once, and that's it. So you just had to remember it, yeah. So there was no point remembering what it was called, because I'm never going to see it again. Then, a year later, we did have a video machine, so I had videos. I thought, all right, I want to see that amazing film again with Perseus, yeah. But I couldn't remember what it was called. Luckily for me, my elder sister did remember what it was called. She was only half paying attention to the film. She only saw half of it. She said it's called Revenge of the Titans or something like that. Yeah, yes, okay, that was a clue. That was a step in the right direction. I found out later from school, a friend of mine, he said it's called Clash of the Titans, yeah. Bit of a misleading title, really. It doesn't actually have any Titans in it, no. It has the Medusa and the Kraken are, well, Titan-like. They're impressive on a really big scale, yeah. And they confront each other. That's why it's Clash of the Titans, yeah. And well, they take a few liberties with what happens in the story, and take liberties with the title, the accuracy, yeah. Well, close enough. They're not Titans, but they're Titan-like, yeah. And, yeah, I suppose unpredictability, yes. I had no idea what on earth was going to happen next. You know, we see a flying horse, Calabos, giant scorpions, a two-headed wolf. What on earth is going to happen next? That's what... It is amazing. It is a lot of fun the first time you see it. What on earth is going to happen next? Yeah. But nothing stops Perseus against all odds. Nothing will stand in his way. No. He's in love with this princess and he will do anything to marry her. And it's not a metaphor. He will literally do anything. Fight monsters, a demon from hell, solve an intellectual riddle. Every last piece of effort he's got. He gives it everything he has. Yeah. So, yes, this is some amazing princess. Yeah, he'll do anything for her. And, okay, nitpick time. Yes, I really loved the movie, and but looking back as a grown-up, a few bits and bobs that could have been done a bit better, like, well, Bubo, the owl, is a robot owl. Now, I remember as a child thinking Bubo was pretty cool. Yes, a bit of comic relief, you know, all these horrific, terrifying monsters, but... every now and again we need to tone it down a bit to make it okay for little kids. So yes, Bubo's like the comic relief. And yes, I thought he was quite a fun, cool character as a child. But as a grown-up, I think, why is he a robot? Well, he's a cute little robot because of the Star Wars films, R2-D2, the comic relief, and lots of other science fiction films. Any outer space adventure, you've got to have a cute little robot. That was sort of like the rule. That's what the public want. And yeah, I can understand that in an outer space adventure, but this is ancient Greece. We're not in outer space. This is not set in the future. It's not science fiction. What on earth is a robot doing in ancient Greece? There were no robots. Humans didn't have robots. Gods didn't have robots. No, there's no place for a robot. It's completely out of context, yeah. But this is the only Harryhausen film that's post-Star Wars, and they thought that's what the people are going to want, yeah. Well, the cute little comic relief... Could they have made him, I don't know, a fairy, or a little faun, or a little centaur, or something that looks in place in Greek myths? But no. Well, they do give some loose explanation for Bubo's appearance. Basically, Zeus wants Athena, the goddess of wisdom, to give Perseus the wise owl Bubo. She refuses, so a compromise is set instead. She gives Perseus a replica of Bubo. A robot made by Hephaestus, the smith god. Well, I suppose that's better than ordinary humans making a robot. That would have been completely ridiculous, yeah. Okay, back to the plot. The gods of Olympus are fierce and powerful, and there are these rules that must be obeyed, otherwise terrible punishments come. However, you also have to know when to cheat, when to break the rules now and again. Well, that's crazy. That doesn't make any sense. You must obey these rules, but you must also know when to disobey them. Yeah, but yeah, the gods are erratic, and their motives are very unpredictable. Yeah, they are a bit like spoilt children. Yes, if they don't get their way, they have a temper tantrum. And the gods are very whimsical. Yes, they say one thing, do another, change their mind whenever it suits them. Yes. And when Zeus, when he has little statues of people down on Earth, when he doesn't like Acrisius the king, he crushes the statue and it breaks into pieces, so the real Acrisius dies. Whatever happens to the statues after, it's like children playing with their toys. They play with the lives of mortal men. Well, they are the gods. They have absolute power, yeah. And when Acrisius, he attempts to kill his daughter and her son Perseus, he doesn't succeed. Well, he basically puts her in that box thing that's in the sea. In his justification, I haven't actually killed her, but the sea will destroy them, so it's not my fault. But no. He really wants them dead, but he makes out it's not his fault, whereas the truth is, no, he wants them both dead. And that's a terrible crime, killing your own daughter. So, yes, Zeus orders Acrisius destroyed, and the whole of Argos, the whole city destroyed with him. Absolute genocide, yeah. Blimey, have a temper tantrum, why don't you? Yeah. And so that's why later, when the goddess Thetis threatens to destroy the city of Joppa with the Kraken, the big sea monster, the people know she's not bluffing. They know what the Kraken is capable of doing. It's been done before. It destroys a city at the beginning, yeah. And, well, the thing about cheating is, well, Perseus, when he has to solve a riddle, he does get a vital clue. And you could say that's not fair, that's cheating, but the gods don't punish him for it, yeah. And that the gods themselves cheat. There's a bit where Perseus, he must get back to the city on time, otherwise Andromeda will be killed. He's lost all his people, lost his horses, he can't find the flying horse. He goes, well, I'll walk if I have to. He tries to walk the whole way to the city of Joppa. It collapses from exhaustion, and when nobody's looking, Zeus cheats, picks up the statue of Perseus and gives him a new burst of energy so that he can physically walk about again. yeah, so bits of cheating here and there, yeah. But they're the gods, they make the rules, they can make and break them, or bend and break the rules when it suits them. There are, however, some things that don't quite make sense. It is still a great movie, but when Thetis is very angry that her son Calibos has been deformed, punishment by the gods, she picks up Perseus, with her magic powers, out of the island of Seriphos and puts him in the theatre of the city of Joppa. Why? What good would that do her? No, if anything, she's done Perseus a favour, because he made no plans to regain his homeland or anything like that. If she hadn't done that, he might have stayed in Seriphos forever. So, oh dear. Well, maybe she did it because the goddess Thetis thought, she hoped, that he'd find out about this beautiful Princess Andromeda, want to solve a riddle, get it wrong, and end up dead. Maybe that's what she hoped would happen, yeah. But of course she inadvertently did him a favour. That gave him the motive to, to do all he can to marry the princess, yeah. As Zeus says, find and fulfill your destiny. That's not the most famous quote from the film. The most famous quote seems to be, release the Kraken, which is a great line, but I like the other line better, find and fulfill your destiny. It sums the whole thing up. A young man who's destined for great things, yeah. He wants to marry the princess because she's incredibly beautiful, he really fancies her, but also so he can rule the kingdom, and deeper than that, his mother is dead, and her last wish was that he regains his homeland of Argos. And so the only way to do that, you need vast amounts of money to rebuild the whole city. You couldn't win the lottery in those days, so no, in order to get vast amounts of money, you had to be a king, be married to royalty, yeah. So yes, the story runs deeper, other stories connected together, yeah. And Calibos, I think, he was made up for the story, he wasn't in the original myth. He was the original betrothed to the Princess Andromeda, and when he hunted down and killed lots of animals, including flying horses. In the original myth there's only one flying horse, but in this one there's originally lots. He kills all of them, and Pegasus is the last one, the only one alive. This is a terrible crime, killing sacred animals, and as a result Zeus punishes Calibos with deformity. Now Calibos is forced to live like an outcast, and live in the swamps. Nevertheless, he visits Andromeda, or he uses his magical powers to visit her in her dreams, and says, remember me how I was? And she says, I remember, but now I can't marry you, you're so ugly. You could say that's a bit mean of Andromeda, that's harsh. You shouldn't stop loving someone if they're really ugly. But you could look at it another way and say she didn't know what a horrible, evil man he was. When he was punished with deformity, she thought, well, there must be a reason why he was punished. And she finds out all these terrible crimes he did. She sees him for what he really is. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and one issue that's never raised in the film. What if it was the other way round? What if Andromeda was really ugly and Calibos was really handsome? Would he fancy the princess if she was made really ugly? No, I don't think he would. No, he'd disappear like a shot, yeah. So yes, very one-sided, but Calibos is a villain and a hypocrite. Yes, one rule for you, different rule for me, yeah. And when Perseus chops his hand off and then spares his life on condition that he stops cursing the princess, stops cursing the whole city of Joppa. No more disease, no more pestilence, no more nightmares, you know. So he renounces his curse. Is he sorry for the bad things he's done? No, of course he's not. And he goes and prays to his mother, the goddess of the sea. Show me to justice. Show me how I can punish Perseus for this blasphemy. You know. Oh, okay, he's a sore loser and he's not sorry. No desire to repent, yeah. There's just one thing, though. I mean, Calibos, before he was deformed, yes, he was an evil, horrible man. He'd been spoiled by his mother since birth. But the thing is, he shouldn't have been punished with deformity permanently. What Zeus should have done was say something like this. Right, I'm going to make you deformed for a whole month. If you repent, if you mend your ways, then I'll make you back handsome the way you were before. Yeah, that's what he should have done. He shouldn't have given him permanent deformity. Because Calibos is permanently deformed, well, he's got nothing to lose anymore, has he? Yes, yeah. So he becomes far more evil than he was before. And he doesn't feel guilty about all the pain and misery and suffering he causes. He doesn't care. He takes all his anger out on the world. Yeah. That's not a good punishment then, is it? No. Yes, but what exactly... Why does he do that thing where you have to solve a riddle to marry the princess? Well, Calibos wants to marry Andromeda. What I cannot have, no man can have, basically. So he makes it impossible for any man to ever marry her. But what does he hope to achieve by this? The princess will not marry him no matter what. Well, maybe he hopes, the princess will eventually crack and give in to me and fall in love with me again. Better him than no man at all. But no, Andromeda knows he's a villain, he's a horrible man, and better no man at all than him, basically. She will not marry him no matter what happens, yeah. But Calibos, he never gives up, I'll give him that. Yes, he is a formidable villain, and he's determined to take his anger on Perseus, you know, determined to stop him from ever marrying the princess. And of course, halfway through the film, Perseus is given a new challenge. He must fight the Kraken, which is not in the original myth. No, the Kraken is a creature from Viking mythology. In the original myth, Perseus has to fight a huge sea serpent, and he kills it with a sword. He doesn't need the Medusa. yeah, but for more dramatic effect, well, the sea monster is far bigger than it is in the original myth. Yes, the Kraken is about 50 foot tall, yes. And the only hope is to kill it with the Medusa. My favourite scene in the film was, and still is, the bit with the Medusa, yes. The tension, the timing is perfect, yes. One tiny mistake and the hero is dead forever. So yes, he cannot make a single mistake. It's all very tense and everything. In the original myth, he does all this completely on his own. Whereas in this one, I suppose, to make it a bit more believable, no, he does have help. He has a small army of men to help him on his various escapades, yeah. And going for the Medusa, he has 2 soldiers to help him. One of them is shot in the back with an arrow. The other one looks at Medusa's eyes by mistake and turns to stone. So now it's all down to him. He's completely alone in this dark, dismal underground place full of statues, yeah. And how can you possibly fight something without looking at it? Well, here's the Medusa here. This is not official merchandise from the film, but yes, she has snakes for hair. Yes, the most... It's like a metaphor. If someone or something is hideously ugly on a big scale, you stock still, stay perfectly still. So the turning into stone is a metaphor for that, yeah. And Medusa used to be an ordinary mortal woman, a very beautiful woman, but she did something to offend the gods and was made into this ugly monster, yeah. Calibos used to be very handsome, has been made hideously ugly, punished by the gods. So the theme of something that used to be beautiful and then made very ugly comes up now and again, yeah. And yes, when you kill a monster, you chop its head off, show it to the people and say, the enemy of the people is dead. You can't do that with the Medusa because it would turn them all to stone. So instead, he shows it to the gods in the sky. Yes, he's done what's never been achieved before. He is Perseus, the Gorgon Slayer. Yeah, and that famous pose he does, holding the head up and his sword, that's in the constellations. In fact, at the age of 7, I wasn't sure if this story was true or not, but when I at the very end, when it says that their images are in the stars, oh, well, the story must be true then. There's no question about it. It must be true then. Anything that's written in the stars is true. Yes, well, that's a 7-year-old's logic, yeah. And yes, I remember I didn't actually have any Clash of the Titans toys, but I'd reenact the stories with toys of my own, toys that would stand in for the different characters. Yeah, yeah. So yes, I looked at the whole world differently after seeing this film. Everything seemed more beautiful, more special, and there was this great feeling of optimism. Everyone can be a great hero. Mortal man can do amazing things. Yeah. And okay, another little nitpick. Pegasus drowned in the sea, very sad. So Perseus froze Medusa's head. He's already killed the Kraken. So froze Medusa's head in the sea because something about Medusa's blood that can turn dead matter into a living thing. So the blood of Medusa's head brings Pegasus back to life. So that's good. When he froze Medusa's head in the sea, why doesn't he close his eyes? After all that hard work to not look at her when he kills the Gorgon, yes, and he doesn't close his eyes when he throws Medusa's head in. By the grace of the gods, he doesn't see the eyes. Yes, that could have been done a bit better, yeah. Andromeda is a good character and everything. She's not just a damsel in distress. No, she does go on half the journey with Perseus. Yeah, she wants to see it through with him. But then he says, you know, you must return to the city for practical reasons, yes. If you're not tied to that sacrificial rock on the exact right day, the Kraken will destroy the whole city, yes. So in case I fail, you must return to the city. But he respects her, yeah, she's willing to come this far with him. She's not a total wimp, yeah. So yeah, I'm pleased that they gave Andromeda stuff to do. She's not just the love interest of the hero, yeah. Now, 1 year later, so when I was 8 3/4, that's when I learned more about Greek myths at school. Yeah, it was for our education, yeah. And I learned that Perseus was just the tip of the iceberg. There were other heroes that had to fight monsters. There was Hercules against the Hydra, Theseus against the Minotaur, Bellerophon against the Chimera, and Jason has to defeat the evil Harpies, yeah. So yes, it was fascinating, yeah. It really got me into Greek myths. All the stories, I loved them. But there was something about Perseus against the Medusa, the Gorgon. There was something about that. So the other stories were the next best thing, yeah. But I still like Perseus, because a hero looks great if his monster is the ultimate challenge, yes. A nemesis makes the hero look... A really impressive nemesis makes a hero look really impressive, yeah. So Medusa is my favourite monster, Perseus is my favourite hero. When I was 9 years old, I got this book here, yeah. It's called Gods, Men and Monsters, and on the front cover there's Perseus. The inside of his shield is a mirror, yes, and he's wearing his magic helmet. And Medusa is not to scale, she's much too big, but it looks more impressive. And behind we see lots of statues, people she's turned to stone, yeah. And, when I did have a video machine when I was 9 years old, I watch it? I watched Clash of the Titans over and over again. Couldn't get enough of it, really loved it, yeah. And I remember one of my friends saying, it's not that impressive really, he doesn't save a whole world, he just saves the life of one woman. But, because he destroys the Kraken, it can't destroy any more cities, so when you really think about it, yes, he saves a lot more people, yeah. And he came from nothing, this poor fisherman, and he is destined to get married to a princess, be incredibly rich, and then reclaim the city of Argos, yeah. The idea of rags to riches, a poor man becomes incredibly powerful, yeah. And he was raised well, very moral and decent. The mirror opposite of Calibos that was spoiled from the day he was born. So, yeah. Calibos wants to kill Perseus, he's angry, he wants to marry the princess. But if he hadn't done those terrible things, Calibos would never have been deformed in the first place. And if he hadn't been spoiled from the day he was born, he wouldn't have done these evil things. So yeah. there are consequences to your actions. You have to think things through, yeah. And I suppose I like the bit with the riddle because it's a hero has to be intellectual. You need brains as well as brawn in order to succeed, yeah. So, Clash of the Titans, Ray Harryhausen's finest work. He had a lot of practice, been working the movies for many, many years, but he ended his special effects career with a bang. Clash of the Titans was his biggest hit, yeah. And there's something about it, it's the perfect Greek myth, and Clash of Titans is my favourite version of the myth, yeah. And, and I suppose I better mention Ammon, the wise man, played by Burgess Meredith. Yes, Perseus is not all-knowing or all-seeing, no. He needs help now and again. And the wise man Ammon, he tells him about how to find the flying horse, Pegasus. He tells him about the Stygian witches, yeah. And, yes, Perseus, although technically a demigod, he's not immortal, he can die. But he has help from the gods. They give him a sword that can slice through just about anything, a helmet to make him invisible, and the shield so you can see that the reflection of Medusa cannot harm you, yeah. So in other words, the hero needs help. Yes, he does a lot of great stuff on his own, but needs help now and again, yeah. So I like the element of teamwork there. Yeah, they work together as a team to get the job done, yeah. So Clash of the Titans is quintessential. All the best elements are there, yeah. And, well, all that's left to say really is I'd love to go to Greece one day, see the place where all this inspiration came from, yeah. And he doesn't save a whole world, no. But in ancient Greek times, your country was your whole world. Yes, that's like the equivalent in ancient world terms, yeah. Okay, thank you for watching. I'm Anthony Hobbs, and I'm never bored.